Buck Williams was the working man's working man, playing hard every night, whether it was diving for loose balls or chasing down rebounds, coupled with playing defense extremely well thanks to his strength, athleticism, and attention to detail. Williams could also score with the best, leading the league twice in field goal percentage, thriving around the rim, punishing other bigs, and throwing down thunderous dunks, and one time even bending the rim in the NBA Finals. All of which helped Buck Williams carve out a long 17-year career in the NBA, which started off hot for the Nets, winning Rookie of the Year and became an All-Star, which was the first of 3 for him. Williams quickly became the go-to guy in New Jersey, helping the team to multiple playoff berths, and became an All-NBA caliber player, being one of the best power forwards in the game, before heading to the Portland Trailblazers, where he would take on a smaller role with no complaints to win now, and the Blazers won a lot, making 2 NBA Finals with Williams at the power forward position, becoming the leading rebounder and best defender, making 4 all-defensive teams, then ending his career with the New York Knicks, providing solid minutes as a backup for a couple more playoff appearances, finishing his long-lasting career as a true Ironman, only missing significant time his final season. This is a look back on Buck Williams' career. Buck Williams was born and raised in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, picking up the game of basketball playing against his older sister in the yard, going on to star at Rocky Mount High School, catching the eyes of schools for his size coupled with his motor, ultimately deciding to attend Maryland to play his college basketball for Hall of Fame head coach Lefty Driesell. Williams is joining a middle-of-the-line Maryland team that had Albert King, who was in his sophomore season. Once hitting the floor for Maryland, Buck Williams found immediate success, starting and averaging 10 points a game and leading the ACC in rebounds at 10.8, en route to Buck Williams winning the ACC Rookie of the Year. Williams helped Maryland become a threat, knocking off 3 top 10 teams with its biggest victory against Notre Dame when they were ranked number 1. However, despite this success against top teams, Maryland fell just short of the NCAA tournament, going 19-11. The following season, Buck Williams kept improving his offensive game, averaging 15.5 points and still rebounding extremely well at 10.1 boards per game, which was enough for Williams to make the All-ACC team. As Maryland was thriving behind Williams and King's improved play, becoming ACC regular season champs, finishing the year at 24-7, making the NCAA tournament as a 2 seed. After getting a bye, Maryland defeated Tennessee, getting into the Sweet 16 as Williams recorded 19 points and 9 rebounds. The Sweet 16 brought Sleepy Floyd in Georgetown, where it would be a close game with Buck Williams stepping up his play when it mattered most, scoring 18 points to go with 15 rebounds. However, his stellar performance would not be enough as they had lost 74-68. Buck Williams, after the strong year, would make the 1980 USA Olympic basketball team, but he never got the chance to represent Team USA in Moscow due to the United States boycott of the Olympic Games. Next season, Maryland had high expectations returning Williams and King, and Buck Williams continued to remain a force, averaging 15.5 points and 11.7 rebounds, getting another All-ACC nod. However, Maryland, with the target on its back, couldn't duplicate the prior year's success, going 21-10, making the NCAA tournament as a 6 seed. Round 1, Maryland defeated Chattanooga behind a big game from King and Williams, as 13 points and 16 rebounds. Round 2, Maryland faced Isaiah Thomas and the Indiana Hoosiers, who blew them out of the water 99-64, even despite Williams' best efforts with 16 points and 10 rebounds. After the season, Buck Williams was receiving strong interest from the NBA, so he decided to turn pro, skipping his senior season. Williams was a top prospect because he looked NBA ready and like a grown man, being able to physically match up against anyone because of his size, strength, and athleticism. And in the 1981 NBA draft, with a 3rd overall pick, the New Jersey Nets selected Buck Williams. Williams was joining a Nets team looking to turn around its recent poor form with the core of Otis Birdsong, Ray Williams, and fellow draft pick and college teammate Albert King. Buck Williams stepped in to be the Nets' power forward and was off and running from the start, becoming second on the team and scoring at 15.5 points and first in rebounds at 12.3, leading the Nets on a resurgence, with Williams picking up accolades along the way, winning Rookie of the Year and had made the All-Star game, quickly establishing himself as one of the best power forwards in the game as he led the Nets to 20 more wins than the prior year, going 44-38 even as they had missed Birdsong most of the season with injury, getting the Nets into the playoffs as a 4 seed, meeting the Washington Bullets with Jeff Ruland and Spencer Haywood. The Nets, being the higher seed, did not look the part over the series, getting swept as Ruland was one of the few players capable of out-rebounding Williams, and Haywood had turned back the clock playing well, And lastly, the Bullets had more veteran experience in general than the young Nets team. The Nets as a whole may have underperformed in this series, yet Buck Williams did not, as he played well in his first playoff experience, averaging 17.5 points and 10.5 rebounds. In the offseason, the Nets, wanting to continue to build off its successful season, traded for Darryl Dawkins to be the team's starting center, and it traded away Ray Williams in a separate move to free up touches for Albert King. The moves did not affect Buck Williams' play as he continued to be on the up and up, averaging 17 points and 12.5 rebounds, making it back to the All-Star game and made All-NBA second team. The Nets, meanwhile, kept improving the roster mid-year, trading their young up-and-coming guard in Sleepy Floyd, who was not playing much, to the Warriors for Michael Ray Richardson. The move and Buck Williams at the helm saw the Nets go 49-33, getting another 4 seed in a series against the New York Knicks with Bill Cartwright and Bernard King, creating a matchup of the brothers pitting Bernard versus Albert, where Bernard King would get the last laugh, leading the Knicks to a sweep after large scoring performances and the Knicks' ability to slow down both guards in Richardson and Birdsong. Another quick early exit was again not the fault of Buck Williams, as he was one of the best players in the series, averaging 19 points and 11.5 rebounds. The following season, Buck Williams' role within the team shifted to the third option as Birdsong was clicking and Dawkins had found his footing within the team. This wouldn't slow down Buck Williams much though, as he averaged 15.7 points and 12.3 rebounds, helping the Nets put together a relatively similar year, going 45-37, making the playoffs a 6th seed. Round 1 brought the defending NBA champions in the Philadelphia 76ers, who had Julius Erving, Moses Malone, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, and Bobby Jones. Entering as big underdogs, the Nets jumped out in the 76ers, winning Game 1 on the road behind Buck Williams' game-high 25 points and 16 rebounds. The Nets rode the momentum, taking Game 2 as well in Philly behind Michael Ray Richardson's play, needing one more win headed back home. However, the 76ers were the defending champs for a reason, winning both of the next games in New Jersey behind a well-rounded team performances, forcing a Game 5. Game 5 looked to be in the 76ers' favor heading down the stretch of the game, thwarting off the Nets' upset attempt. Yet all of a sudden, Michael Ray Richardson got hot down the stretch, stealing the game away, knocking off the Philadelphia 76ers round 1 with Buck Williams playing the role of a sidekick, having 17 points and 16 rebounds, giving the Nets their first second-round playoff appearance since the ABA-NBA merger. Round 2, the Nets met the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Sidney Moncrief, Marquez Johnson, Junior Bridgman, Paul Pressey, and Bob Lanier. The Nets jumped out of the Bucks as they did the Philadelphia 76ers, taking Game 1 behind Darryl Dawkins' form. But the Bucks responded quicker, winning the next 2 games. The Nets tied the series up in Game 4 at 2-2, with Buck Williams having 18 points and led the game in rebounding, which he had done every game up to this point. Milwaukee quickly bounced back again, winning Game 5 as Johnson led the way, and went on to win Game 6, sending the Nets home after they were unable to corral a rebound after making the defensive stop on the final possession. Buck Williams was a large part of the Nets' playoff success, knocking off the 76ers and contending against the Bucks, averaging 15.5 points and led the playoffs in rebounds at 14.1. The following season, Williams was asked to score the ball more again as Dawkins battled injuries. Buck Williams went on to average 18.2 points and 12.3 rebounds. Williams' play and Mike Jaminski stepping up in the absence of Dawkins helped the Nets stay playoff bound, going 42-40, getting a series against the Detroit Pistons round 1, who had Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, John Long, Kelly Tripucka, and Vinnie Johnson. Entering the series, Dawkins had returned from injury to play, but the Nets would be without Birdsong, severely hurting the team as they quickly fell into a 2-0 hole, then proceeding to get swept Game 3 on an Isaiah Thomas game winner. Buck Williams against the Pistons put together his best postseason to date, averaging 24.7 points, 10.7 rebounds, and led the postseason in field goal percentage at 65%. Unfortunately, he did not have the supporting cast surrounding him to get past them. Buck Williams next season kept on doing what he does best, averaging 15.9 points and 12 rebounds, making it back to the All-Star game for his 3rd time, with Williams helping keep the Nets afloat after dealing with injuries again from Dawkins and Richardson dealing with substance abuse problems, going 39-43, sneaking into the playoffs as a 7th seed. To play the Milwaukee Bucks round 1, who are now headed by the trio of Terry Cummings, Sidney Moncrief, and Paul Pressey. The series, to no one's surprise, ended up being rather lopsided as the Nets were without Richardson and Dawkins, barely being able to go, losing via a sweep as Cummings carried the Bucks. Buck Williams again was old reliable in the playoffs, averaging 20.7 points and 10.3 rebounds for the injury-riddled Nets. Entering next season, the Nets would be without Michael Ray Richardson moving forward, who was suspended by the league for substance abuse issues. In order to replace him, the Nets brought in Orlando Woolridge to fill the gap. However, the Nets' hopes of bouncing back making the playoffs were quickly dashed as Otis Birdsong and Daryl Dawkins combined for a total of 13 games. Buck Williams for the depleted Nets team shouldered a larger role, averaging 18 points and 12.5 rebounds as the New Jersey Nets went 24-58, missing the playoffs. Next year, the rebuild for the Nets kicked into full gear, trading away Daryl Dawkins for John Bagley. They had also lost Albert King in free agency to the 76ers, and trading away Mike Jaminski mid-year for Roy Hinson. Buck Williams became the go-to guy for the New Jersey Nets, averaging 18.3 points, 11.9 rebounds, and had finally gotten the recognition he deserved on the defensive side, making all-defensive second team, with Buck Williams being one of the lone bright spots for a spiraling Nets team going 19-63. In the offseason, the Nets lost Orlando Woolridge in free agency, though the Nets did acquire Joe Barry Carroll via a trade to improve the team. The Nets next season would play a more balanced style of play behind new coaching, passing the ball around more, seeing a dip in Buck Williams' numbers to 13 points and 9.4 rebounds, ending with the Nets having a slightly better year with the adjustment, but was still rather bad, going 26-56, missing the playoffs. In the offseason, the Nets continue its rebuild further, this time trading away Buck Williams. Buck Williams was traded by the New Jersey Nets to the Portland Trailblazers for Sam Bowie and a future first-round pick that became Mookie Blaylock. Williams was joining a Blazers team regularly making the playoffs, but were struggling to make it out of the first round, being brought in to complement the core of Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey, Kevin Duckworth, and Clifford Robinson. Buck Williams found instant success in his new role, starting at power forward, averaging 13.6 points and 9.8 rebounds, making all defensive first team, being an anchor for Portland, helping the Trailblazers go 59-23, making the playoffs the 3 seed. Meeting the Dallas Mavericks round 1 with Rolando Blackman and Derek Harper. The Blazers went on to sweep them as they were led by big games from Porter and Kersey, with Buck Williams' best game of the series being Game 1 having 21 points and 16 rebounds. Round 2, the Blazers got the San Antonio Spurs, who were headed by David Robinson, Terry Cummings, Sean Elliott, and Willie Anderson. The Blazers would be tied up with the Spurs after 4 games, with the home team always winning. Game 5 continued that trend with Portland winning at home thanks to a big game from Terry Porter. Game 6, Willie Anderson would respond, getting hot himself, forcing a winner-go-home Game 7. And Game 7 would be a tight one, with San Antonio holding the lead late by 7 before the Blazers scored 7 points in 65 seconds, forcing overtime. And in overtime, the Blazers would win on a horrible pass from Strickland, leading to a Drexler fast break, sealing the deal, sending the Blazers into the conference finals to face the Phoenix Suns with Tom Chambers, Kevin Johnson, Jeff Hornacek, and Eddie Johnson. The Blazers would win Game 1 late thanks to a shot from Duckworth. Game 2, the Blazers would get themselves in an early deficit, trailing by 22 points, before they would go on a miraculous comeback as Terry Porter finished it off, hitting 2 big clutch baskets, giving the Blazers the win. Phoenix responded, winning the next 2 games comfortably, tying up the series. Game 5, Clyde Drexler took over, helping Portland win, needing one more win to make it into the NBA Finals. Game 6 was a close one in Phoenix as Jeff Hornacek was carrying the Suns, but the Blazers took the lead late in a fast break and sealed the game off as Buck Williams stopped Tom Chambers, sending the Blazers into the NBA Finals. Awaiting the Blazers in the finals were the bad boy Detroit Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Vinnie Johnson, and Mark Aguirre. Game 1 was all Detroit as Thomas carried the team. Game 2, Portland kept it closer as Clyde Drexler was playing well, with the Portland Trailblazers winning late on a Drexler free throw, handing the Detroit Pistons their first home loss of the playoffs, giving the Blazers confidence that they could go back home and win it at the crib, famously stated by Terry Porter. But back in Portland, Laimbeer outplayed the Blazers' bigs, being physical and outsmarting them, causing frustrations. On top of a big game from Joe Dumars on the day his father had passed away, leading the Pistons to a victory Game 3. Game 4 was a close one throughout, with the Pistons consistently holding the slight edge, defeating the Blazers as Danny Young's buzzer beater did not count. Game 5 was another close one, in a game that saw Buck Williams bend the rim on a dunk before Vinnie Johnson had come into the game hot, keeping the Pistons around, ending in Johnson capping things off, hitting a shot with 0.7 seconds left, giving the Detroit Pistons the NBA title, ending Buck Williams in the Portland Trailblazers season in heartbreak. Buck Williams was an instrumental figure over the run to the NBA Finals, playing lockdown defense against the best big men, even having a critical stop against Tom Chambers to advance to the Finals, with Williams' biggest contributions being in the rebounding category, leading the team with 9.2 rebounds to go with his 13 points per game over the postseason. Next season came around and the Blazers looked to build off their postseason success, and Buck Williams played the same role, averaging 11.7 points, 9.4 rebounds, and led the league in field goal percentage at 60.2%, on top of playing great defense again, picking up another all-defensive first-team nod for his play, helping the Portland Trailblazers keep their strong form, going 63-19, getting into the playoffs to 1 seed, meeting the Seattle Supersonics round 1 with Eddie Johnson and Ricky Pierce. Portland jumped out to a 2-0 series lead thanks to Drexler, and Seattle retaliated Game 3 on a late shot from Sedale 3, and winning Game 4 as Eddie Johnson was hot for Seattle, tying the series up. Game 5, Portland would survive the upset attempt from Seattle as they took an early lead and rode it the rest of the way to a victory. Round 2, the Blazers faced the Utah Jazz, who had Karl Malone, John Stockton, and Jeff Malone. The Blazers went up 2-0 in the series as Terry Porter hit a game winner with 3.5 seconds remaining and made the defensive stop on Stockton at the horn. Game 3, as like most of the series, Karl Malone dominated with Buck Williams struggling to defend him, winning the game for the Jazz. Game 4 was another close one, but Portland held on to a victory late as Drexler hit a big shot and stole the ball. In Game 5, the Blazers put away the Jazz thanks to a big third quarter, making it into the Western Conference Finals, getting a series against the Los Angeles Lakers with Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Sam Perkins, and Byron Scott. Game 1, Magic and Worthy helped Los Angeles steal the victory in Portland. Game 2, Terry Porter carried the Blazers to a win, but Portland went on to drop the next 2 games in LA before winning Game 5 back in Portland with a well-rounded team performance. Game 6 was a hard-fought one with the Los Angeles Lakers holding the lead late by 1 after a big game from Sam Perkins. Portland had the ball with the chance to win it, getting a look off as Terry Porter took the jump shot and missed, sending Portland home. Buck Williams, over the run to the conference finals, did the dirty work again, averaging 10.3 points and 8.9 rebounds. Next season, Williams continued to look strong, averaging 11.3 points, 8.8 rebounds, while leading the league for the second year in a row in field goal percentages 60.4% and made All-NBA defensive second team. For a Trailblazers team that got another number 1 seed after going 57-25. The playoffs brought a meeting against the team that had sent them home the prior year in the Lakers, round 1, who were a different team as Magic Johnson was gone from the team with HIV and James Worthy was out injured. Without both, the Lakers couldn't slow down Portland as the Blazers advanced easily 3-1, as Williams' best game came in Game 1 as he led the way in rebounding with 13 rebounds and had 21 points. Round 2, the Blazers faced the Phoenix Suns, who were now headed by Kevin Johnson, Jeff Hornacek, and Dan Marley. Portland went up 2-1 through 3 games thanks to Drexler and Porter. Game 4 was a high-scoring back-and-forth game that went to overtime as Terry Porter hit a game-tying 3-point play with 33.6 seconds left, and the game wouldn't be concluded in overtime as Kevin Johnson hit a game-tying jumper with 2.7 seconds left. In double overtime, the Blazers had finally won the grueling battle, with the final score ending at 153-151, setting a record for the most points by both teams in a playoff game with 304. The Blazers carried this momentum into Game 5, winning the series behind Drexler. In the Western Conference Finals, the Blazers got a matchup again in the playoffs against the Utah Jazz. Terry Porter led the Blazers to a 2-0 start after big games, and Utah went on to win the next 2 games as Karl Malone picked apart Buck Williams and the Blazers again. Afterwards, the Trailblazers seemed to elevate their play, winning the next 2 games, making it into the NBA Finals after a massive series altogether from Terry Porter. Awaiting the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA Finals were the Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Horace Grant. Game 1 was all Chicago as Jordan got hot and hit his famous shrug. The following game, Jordan was still hot, but the Blazers' offense was clicking, winning them the game. Even Buck Williams chipped in with 19 points and 14 rebounds. Game 3 was more of Jordan doing Jordan, providing a victory for the Bulls. Again, the Blazers rallied, winning Game 4 behind Drexler and Kersey's performances. And after Game 4, it was all MJ as Jordan proceeded to score 46 points and 33 points, winning the NBA championship for the Bulls. ending another season just short of winning the NBA title. Buck Williams was a key contributor again to the Blazers' postseason success, leading the way in rebounding at 8.5 while providing 9.6 points as well. In the offseason, the Trailblazers signed Rod Strickland in free agency to help push them over the top. This season, Buck Williams took on a smaller role within the offense as Clifford Robinson was emerging, seeing Buck Williams average 8.3 points and 8.4 rebounds. Williams' willingness to take on a smaller role and the emergence of Clifford Robinson had helped the Portland Trailblazers stay afloat as Kersey and Drexler battled injuries, with the Blazers going 51-31 entering the playoffs as a 4 seed. To play the San Antonio Spurs round 1, who had proved since their last playoff series matchup adding Dale Ellis. The Blazers entered the series without Drexler, but he would return game 2 helping tie the series up. But it was clear in the remaining games Drexler wasn't at superstar form and David Robinson was, as David Robinson had sent home the Portland Trailblazers 3-1. Buck Williams against the Spurs had averaged 8.8 points and 7.3 rebounds. After the disappointing end of the year, the Trailblazers decided to trade Kevin Duckworth for Harvey Grant. This was only the start of team changes as Strickland replaced Porter in the starting lineup and Kersey took on a smaller role as well. Through all the changes, Buck Williams continued to excel in his role as the starting power forward, averaging 9.7 points and 10.4 rebounds, helping the Blazers go 47-35, getting a playoff appearance as the 7th seed, in a round 1 matchup against Hakeem Olajuwon, Otis Thorpe, and the Houston Rockets, where the Blazers could not slow down Olajuwon over the series, seeing the Rockets win via a gentleman's sweep. Buck Williams had put together a solid series against the Rockets, in particular against Otis Thorpe, averaging 12.8 points and 8.8 rebounds. Buck Williams this year also served as the president of the NBA Players Association going forward for the next 3 years. Next season, Buck Williams remained consistent in his role, averaging 9.2 points and 8.2 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Blazers continued to slip from their championship runs as they had traded away Clyde Drexler for Otis Thorpe mid-season, going 44-38, getting into the playoffs the 7th seed. The Blazers wouldn't be around for very long in the playoffs as Charles Barkley and the Suns absolutely kicked their butts in a sweep. Over the series, Buck Williams played okay, but signs of him aging were showing, matching up against Barkley in his prime, as Williams averaged 8.3 points and 6.3 rebounds. In the offseason, the Blazers continued rebuilding, letting go of Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey being taken away in the expansion draft, and trading away Otis Thorpe, as the Blazers had finally reached a deal with Arvydas Sabonis to come to the United States and play basketball. Buck Williams, for the first time in his career, would be pushed to coming off the bench, where he'd averaged 7.3 points and 5.8 rebounds, as the Blazers went 44-38, getting a playoff appearance as the 6th seed, meeting the Utah Jazz round 1, who are now headed by the trio of Karl Malone, John Stockton, and Jeff Hornacek. The Utah Jazz jumped out to a 2-0 early lead thanks to Karl Malone looking as though they were going to sweep the Blazers out of the playoffs, but Sabonis would step into the spotlight, pushing the Blazers to tie the series back up at 2-2, setting up a winner-go-home Game 5, which ended up being all Utah as they destroyed the Blazers 102-64, sending Portland home. Against the Jazz, Williams had averaged 4.8 points and 5 rebounds. In the offseason, Buck Williams' time with the Portland Trailblazers had come to an end as they released him, making Williams a free agent. As a free agent, Buck Williams signed with the New York Knicks, joining a Knicks team that were a playoff caliber team led by Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, John Starks, Larry Johnson, and Allen Houston. Buck Williams stepped in to be the backup power forward to average 6.3 points and 5.4 rebounds for a Knicks team that went 57-25, making the playoffs 3 seed. Round 1 brought a matchup against the balanced Charlotte Hornets team with Glenn Rice, Vlade Divac, Anthony Mason, Del Curry, and Muggsy Bogues. Larry Johnson was the spark this series, wanting to punish his former team, helping the Knicks sweep the Hornets as the Knicks played a well-rounded series with Ewing being the main anchor. Round 2, the Knicks met the Miami Heat headed by Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and Jamal Mashburn. The Knicks looked in charge to start the series, going up 3-1 behind Ewing and Houston's play. Then the series took a complete 180 as Miami Heat were pulling away late the following game and an all-out brawl occurred. And during the brawl, Patrick Ewing, Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, and John Starks left the bench. The league subsequently punished them for this by handing out 1-game suspension spread out over the final 2 games of the series. With the suspensions, the Miami Heat took advantage of the situation, winning Games 6 and 7, as Hardaway and Mourning smelled blood in the water, sending the depleted New York Knicks team home because of suspensions. Buck Williams over the playoffs, the backup power forward, averaged 4.3 points and 4 rebounds. Next season, for the first time in Buck Williams' entire career, he would miss significant time because of his knee needing surgery. Buck Williams played half the season, averaging 4.9 points and 4.5 rebounds for a Knicks team that took a dip, as Ewing was also battling injuries, going 43-39, making the playoffs as the 7th seed. The Knicks got a series against the team who had sent them home the prior year in the Miami Heat round 1. The Knicks looked like big-time underdogs without Ewing, but they would hang around in the series because of Houston and Johnson, seeing it tied up after Game 4, which was most known for another fight between Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson, who were once teammates, and Van Gundy grabbing onto Mourning's leg in an attempt to stop things. Johnson and Mourning subsequently would be suspended for Game 5, which hurt the Heat more, seeing the Knicks jump out on the Heat Game 5, going up 20 at half, then to hold on to the lead to defeat the Heat 3-2, all for the Knicks to make it to round 2 to get it handed to them by Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers 4-1. In the playoffs, Buck Williams did not play consistently, averaging 4.7 points and 5.3 rebounds. After the season that saw Buck Williams deal with injury problems for the first time at the age of 37, he decided to retire, ending his 17-year NBA career averaging 12.8 points, 10 rebounds, with the 54.9% field goal percentage. Not long into retirement, the Nets would honor Buck Williams, retiring his number 52 for his dominant seasons with the team, and later on down the line came back to the basketball world to serve as assistant coach for the Portland Trailblazers for a couple of seasons. Buck Williams will be remembered first and foremost for his motor, chasing down every rebound and loose ball, while having the strength and athleticism to match up against any power forward, playing lockdown defense against the best, while also being able to put the ball in the basket at a high rate, throwing down dunks hard, and punishing people in the post. All of which saw Buck Williams come into the NBA and thrive instantly, winning Rookie of the Year and an All-Star, which was his first of 3 All-Star appearances with the New Jersey Nets, becoming the main guy on the team, leading the Nets to multiple playoff appearances and an All-NBA caliber player, looking the part of one of the best forwards in the league. Before joining the Portland Trailblazers to help push the team to new heights, making it to the NBA Finals twice, as Williams did the dirty work grabbing rebounds and becoming a lockdown defender, becoming a 4-time All-Defensive Team player, then joining the New York Knicks to end his career, providing a spark off the bench for a couple more playoff runs. Buck Williams' career is personified by hard work and determination. Thanks for watching this video on Buck Williams' career. If you want to see any other videos about any other random players, please let me know in the comments down below, and I may or may not decide to do them. Who knows? Thanks again for watching. This has been Skid Denver.